Footsteps Festival, and we're really proud to be part of the Footsteps Festival. And when we, Louise invited us to pull together the creative writing workshop, it's been such a wonderful experience working with the panel together and collaborating with each other to kind of think what would work best for everybody here. So it's been inspiring and a privilege just even to have kind of spent the time working together. So we really hope that you kind of enjoy what we put forward for this session. Obviously, just a couple of kind of key things. You're probably all very used to using Zoom. We are going to record the session. Now, some of the sections that we do will be in sort of confidential breakout. Obviously, those won't get recorded, but so the kind of the key bits that Jenny will organise, that side of things. You're all probably used to audios and muting if it gets loud and there's background noise, so we can organise that. But hopefully it's a very interactive, collaborative, and kind of a nice space to work with. So we'll start with some introductions. My name's Claire Jacobs. I work as the physiotherapy lead at St Thomas's Pain Management Programme. I've been there for a number of years, and in the last few years I've really kind of been exploring narrative approaches through some of the John Lorna courses, and I did a course last year with the Bridge course related to, and it's a lot about writing and sharing stories and kind of looking at the space between stories, and it's been really inspiring to my practice. We've also, and Debs will talk about it shortly, we did actually bring some writing sessions onto our pain management program a few years ago for patients, and it was really, really quite interesting. So I'm going to hand over to Debbie.
Okay, everybody. It's really nice to meet you all, and I'm very excited to be part of this event. As someone said earlier, it's one of the nice things about online and Zoom. I don't think I imagined that people would be coming from all over the world, so that's been, wow, how lovely, how great that you're here. So to say a bit about myself, I actually work with Claire and at St Thomas's Hospital. I am an occupational therapist, and I have done bits and bobs of creative writing courses over the years, and at St Thomas's with pain patients, and also in mental health day hospital, I have been running some creative writing groups, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And it was always lovely how you got to know people better once they felt able to share a little bit about themselves and their experiences. And it always feels like a real privilege to be able to hear that. So I'm very happy that we're offering something like this at this Footsteps Festival. So thank you. And I believe it's Jenny next.
Sure, hi, my name's Jenny, and I'm part of the Footsteps team, actually. So I had an accident about 3 years ago and had 8 different surgeries as we tried to put things back together. And so I still wrestle with pain, but I've had the absolute joy to work with Claire and Deb and Sanya, and it's been, preparing for this session has been a real journey of discovery. And if you get even 10% of the joy that I've had in preparing for this, then it's going to just be a great day. So thanks very much for being here, and I hope you get as much out of it as I have already. So over to Sanya.
Hi everybody, my name is Sanya, and I'm an osteopath. I have a special interest in working with people living with pain. I'm so honored to be a part of this project, and I'm so excited to find out with whom do I share similar language and similar world through our creative writing exercises. So thank you for having me. So I think we should really start now. So we really wanted to start this by giving you an example of listening and sharing stories. We thought that's the fairest thing to do. So Claire, do you mind actually sharing the slide with a, thank you so much. So last year around the Thanksgiving time, the magazine New York Times invited the readers to share a 6-word expression of gratitude. And I saw that and I thought, you know, this is such a brilliant thing to ask. And I shared this with Claire and Deborah and Jenny. And Jenny was generous enough and courageous enough to give this exercise a go and to share her writing, which you can see here on the slide. And when I first saw the writing, I thought to myself, you know, what a beautiful writing. And secondly, it really stunned me how much of a story can be told in only just a few words. So each of these lines is a story of, you know, is a story on its own. I was immediately drawn to the line, "It made me know myself better." And I remember thinking, well, this person who wrote this, she's using her life experience, and I'm assuming it's her pain experience as well, but I don't know, as a vehicle to gain a new knowledge about herself. And not only that, because a few lines beneath, she also says, "Live life, a quest for joy." So not only she's using this as a way to come to know herself better, but she's also finding joy in that, which for me is like the next level. So I thought this was just such a beautiful thing, you know, beautiful thing to do. And I recognize from my point of view this theme of taking ownership and taking authorship of your life. I was also very much intrigued by the use of words such as black hole. So if you see in the first line, she says, "Finally pulling away from the black hole." And also the use of the word rock in the third line, "Love the rock I clung to." And I thought, you know, these words are so, to me at least, so kind of material and tactile and also almost earthy. So I wondered, you know, is this some kind of metaphor of seeking stability or something concrete in her life? So I shared my interpretation with Jenny and invited her to elaborate on the meaning. So Jenny, would you like to share your thoughts with us?
Yeah, and this is where I must admit, I've never spent a lot of time writing. I did science as my degree, and so this is all new. But it was so insightful because I realized my pain journey had made me feel very disconnected, and historically I would have called myself quite a grounded person, and I would have felt, yeah, very in touch and centered and so on, and my pain experience was that I lost that. And so it really interested me that you picked out that theme of trying to reconnect and recenter and so on, because I think that was something that I was grappling with without knowing it. And this is why I just think this exercise is, it's really interesting, because I remember when you talked about it as an idea, I thought, well, I ought to try it. And it took, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, no, maybe not even as long as that, 5 minutes. Some of them were too long, I had to cross them out. But it shows how I think some of your subconscious shines through when you do these things. And so it's so useful to hear your reflections and realize what I was wrestling with.
I think there's a poet inside of you, Jenny, definitely. Thank you for reminding us, all of us here, of our shared humanity and fragility as well. So I'm going to pass it on to Claire now. Thank you, Jenny.
No problem. I think Deb just wanted to maybe say something as we hand over. Is that right, Claire?
Debs, did you want to say anything?
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry. Really silly. I thought, what am I like? When I was doing my introduction of myself, I forgot to tell you quite an important thing, which is that I am very, very deaf. And it completely flew out of my head. Anyway, I just wanted to explain that, just in case people have noticed that we have a note taker stroke closed captioner with us. This is the miracle of technology, and it is enabling me to access and actually even be part of the team leading this discussion. So that's really wonderful. I'm so happy about that. But I want to just kind of alert you, there is naturally a little pause as our note taker does her best to keep up with what you're saying. So if you say something to me after you've done my exercises, that's lovely. You may just have to wait a few beats while I read what you have said. So I hope that's okay, and I hope that makes sense and it doesn't feel too strange. Thank you for letting me just clip that bit in. Over to you now.
Thank you, Debs. I was going to say something, but I thought maybe that was your plan. So that was a. So I thought it would be quite useful just to share a little bit and touch base about how we want to work together on this workshop. And actually, Jenny has beautifully kind of, and Sanya demonstrated that kind of sharing and the vulnerability of being slightly out of your comfort zone. When we're vulnerability, it can feel a little bit strange. And it's you don't know the people on here. It may be that this feels a little bit out of your comfort zone. So it's very much about what feels okay for you. Okay. We talk a lot about sharing and connection and using the sort of simple act of writing and putting words on a page, and perhaps then just sharing it with other people can feel kind of quite grounding. It can feel very strange. It can feel very weird, and it can feel totally unconnected. But maybe some of it brings out a connection that you perhaps weren't expecting. So connection is something that we feel, I certainly feel from my experience has been really quite interesting as I put pen to paper. Very much about a choice of what you feel you're willing to share. And sometimes what comes out can be quite personal and quite painful as well. And again, it's when we kind of divide up into small groups and we're going to work in pairs, if you've written something that you're not happy to share, please don't feel that you need to share it. It might be more about perhaps just sharing what it felt like to write, if you feel that you don't actually want to share the words. And another way might be actually writing in a slightly different way. So perhaps writing from a different tense. So it's perhaps not I said, it might be they or he or she or whatever or whoever has said. And that can be a nice way to look at it. So just it's totally your choice. It's about kind of sharing with others. We're all taking a risk by sharing our stories a little bit. And also when we do work within the small groups, it's private and it's only stays within your group, and anything that you want to bring from it and share with the wider group is, you know, up to you, but it's very much within what stays within the group. So Debs will explain the exercises in more detail, but we're going to do a little bit where we divide up and we have kind of two parts in listening. And the reader, it's about not kind of justifying what you've written without sort of saying, I meant to write this and this is what I meant to say, just reading whatever is on your piece of paper. Okay, it's not about spelling, it's not about grammar, it's not about punctuation, it doesn't have to make sense, it's whatever just comes up for you in that moment. It might be that you want to draw things as well, that's equally fine, whatever feels okay for you. And the listener, we're really privileged to have that space to listen to each other, so treat it like it's a work of art. And we're listening more to the kind of the patterns, the tenses, the words, anything that strikes you as you listen, that you kind of think, oh, okay, wasn't sure what that, you know, just anything that you hear. So really kind of taking that time to listen to each other without any critique. We're not about analyzing what anyone's written. It's just about listening to the words and the patterns and perhaps the feelings that it brings out in you as you listen. We really hope this is a confidential, safe space, and the experiences, obviously you can share what it felt like to be part of it, but without using any kind of words and names beyond the workshop. And within the private space, that's very much stays private. So we really hope that it's very much about enjoyment and self-discovery and meaning making through writing, and seeing really what comes up for you as you try these exercises that we explore with you. There's no rights or wrongs, it's purely just a space to enjoy. And we're very passionate about it, and it's always surprises where things might lead with the stories. So that's really where I am in terms of where we are. And I'm going to stop share now and come back to the panel. And I'm now going to, and we're doing well on time, this is brilliant. I'm going to hand over to Debs now for the kind of the start of the exercises together.
Okay, thank you, Claire, for that nice introduction. And basically, just to get straight into the writing work, what we're going to do is 2 short exercises, and one is going to be a very quick warm-up, and the other one will be slightly longer. And I was very interested, really, hearing Jenny talk about what she managed to achieve in 5 minutes. So we might surprise ourselves. So here we are. I'm introducing the first exercise now. So I hope you've got your pens and paper ready, everybody. And this is the warm-up to get you into writing mode, because obviously being confronted with a blank sheet of paper can be a bit terrifying sometimes. So we're going to try and ease into it. And what I'm basically going to do is give you the introduction and then give you 5 minutes to write. And there will be an opportunity to share after that if you want to, but you don't have to. And you can share either in the chat or by speaking. So here's the introduction, everybody. I would like you to write down 3 things that you are good at and 3 things that you find difficult. So things that you struggle with. So that literally is a very, very simple list of 6 things. 3 things you feel that you're good at and 3 things that you struggle with. Is everyone okay with that? I think people have just got straight on with it. Well done. I'm going to start the timer now, everybody, and give you 5 minutes for that. We stop there. I hope that gave Sue a tiny bit of time to catch up. Welcome, Sue. Okay, so just wondering how that felt to do, because it's like you were just dropped straight into that. Did that feel okay? Did it feel weird? If anybody would like to comment, perhaps just type into the chat section, I would like to say something. I would like to volunteer something. Then we can see. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Wendy. I've seen what Joletta's written. Thank you, Joletta. If Wendy would like to share something, please go ahead, Wendy. I'm looking for your face. There you are.
Thank you. I was actually
How much more tuned in we are to the things that feel like the negative stuff about ourselves. It's like that's right at the forefront of our mind, isn't it? Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I always feel with that exercise, partly because of what you just said, Wendy, that it's really important that you have an equal number of good things. So if anyone struggles to find 3 good things, I really encourage you later on to dig around in your mind and put 3 things down, because they will be there for sure. And I just want to scroll back up because people have been chatting, which is really nice, and I want to make sure we see that. So Joletta, thank you. Same thing, she said it's easier to find things I struggle with than things I'm good at. Wendy spoke, and then Lynn. Would you like to speak, Lynn? Yeah.
Well, I'm being brave, and I thought I might read my 6 things. It made me laugh in the end, anyway.
It made us laugh, so it proves that it's definitely something you're good at.
I really love that, Lynn. And I think what's so lovely about this exercise, actually, it always amazes me every time, is how authentic it is. There's a sense in which, I don't know, maybe the simplicity helps us just go to the heart of ourselves a little bit. And I just love that kind of thing about, you know, the people who have kindly fed back so far. And as you say, very brave in a group. It's given us a bit of insight into facets of you, which is a real privilege. It's lovely. And I love what Joe Letty's put. You confirmed that you're good at making people laugh, Lynn. That's lovely.
Oh, thank you.
I want to just scroll back as well because I think I may have missed things. So I've got Lynn. And then, yes, Caroline has just said, oh, did you find it, Caroline, I'm looking for your face. Did you find it easier to do the good things than the difficult things, Caroline? Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? So, you know, we're all different. That's really interesting. And Chris has said it's a good warm-up. It's very direct, absolutely, isn't it, Jeff? And we have a question asking about the recording from Jenny P. What's that going to be used for? So our Jenny can probably answer that.
Yeah, I am so sorry, guys. I realised we missed a whole section of the intro. So first of all, I need to introduce Karen, who's one of the other members of the core team. And she's actually here helping let people in and on the chat. So we're just so lucky to have Karen here, and she and her partner Louise are cold water swimmers, and they go out swimming off the south coast still all through the winter. So super brave and lovely to have them here. And the reason we're recording it is obviously there are some people who can't make the session. So we will edit out anytime we accidentally have anybody on screen. So as you probably see, I try and pause it every time anybody other than the core presenters is on the screen. But in the event that isn't, that will be edited out. And the idea is that this will then sit on the Footsteps site ongoing, and people will be able to do this in their own time. You know, I think those who live with pain know that sometimes there are those terrible hours at 2, 3, 4 in the morning where you're wide awake, can't get to sleep. This might be the thing that you can do at that time. Or it might be something you do at a normal time in the day as well. But that's the purpose of the recording. So I hope that's okay with everybody. If anybody's concerned about it, feel free to turn your cameras off. And as I say, we will absolutely edit out any time that you guys are speaking on the screen. So my apologies that we missed that in the intro. So yeah, Jenny, yes, Jenny P, yes, you're absolutely right. It is only the presenters who will be recorded, and it's the exercises so that other people could do it on their own at home in the same way as we're doing it in the session. That's the plan.
Okay, thank you very much, Jenny. And actually, everyone, I just want to say thank you for sharing, because that was really lovely. It kind of brings in a bit of a feeling of warmth. When we were planning this session, we really didn't know if people would be willing to share. So thank you for that. Thank you for your courage. And I hope it means that you've already got something from it that's feeling rather good. One thing I've been very clear about throughout all the planning is how much this is about connection. And one of the things I found amazing, actually, in this year of very strange Zoom contact with people, is how it can surprisingly be possible to create a warm feeling in a virtual group. And I think it says an enormous amount about the human spirit, really. And it's lovely to see it happening here. So, I've just seen some of the comments, okay. What I would like to do now is introduce the main writing exercise, if everyone's okay with that. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit warmed up now. And what we're going to do is move into the main exercise. And this one I will give you longer to write. You're going to have 10 minutes this time. And then what we're going to do is we will put you into the breakout room after that. We will explain a bit more at that point, so don't worry. And that will be your opportunity to share with one other person. We thought about this just in case the group felt really daunting. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so for this main exercise, exactly as Claire said, really. I just want to echo that it's really not about spelling and grammar, any of that stuff. Just feel okay to go with what comes up for you. The creative mind, what it's saying. And what I'm going to do is suggest a title and some thoughts to hang your writing on, but you are perfectly free to do with those what you wish. So the title is I Have Been. I'm going to type that. Oh. Oh dear, I'm doing great with the typing. I have been. And what this is, again, a very simple way to try to tap into your life experiences. And obviously, if I said that to you, it would sound very, very daunting. So we're going about it in a really simple manner. What I suggest that you do to start with is just write down all the different roles that you have had in your life. So, for example, we've all been children. Then there might be brother, sister, friend, lover, partner, husband, wife, worker, colleague, volunteer, boss, who knows us? Then we may have grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles, all of these family roles, and there may well be other roles that I've completely gone blank on. So I'm kind of encouraging you to maybe just jot them down really quickly. In your life, it's almost like a timeline, isn't it? What are the roles you've done? And sometimes they overlap, don't they? I mean, if you have a sister and you're also a mum, they're overlapping roles. So, having done that, I would like to encourage you to maybe pick one or two of them to write about and maybe ponder on the role a little bit and think about what skills are involved in doing that role. Maybe it could be a role that you're doing now, or it could be a role that you've held in the past. Have a think about what did or do you like about it the most? Or is there anything you dislike about it? You know, it might be like a lot of things in life and have some incredibly boring aspects to it as well. It's part of human life, I think. Did any of it come easily to you? Or were there other bits that you struggled with a bit more? And what qualities do you think that you bring to the role? And I'm sure you're now picking up that this is actually not dissimilar to the exercise you've just done, because that was about, you know, what's good about you and what you found difficult. So I'm hoping it was a nice way to lead into this exercise about roles and life experiences. So you can pick one or several, and it's okay to write or do pictures or however your mind works, really. So is everybody okay with this? Would anyone like me to repeat anything? I've seen some. How about a thumbs up? Is everyone all right? Brilliant. That's lovely. I'm going to give you, nearly forgot this bit, 10 minutes to write, everybody, okay? So if you could stop writing. I don't know if that felt like a very long time or a very quick time. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just explain about what's going to happen next. And we are planning to put you into breakout rooms, and this will give you an opportunity to share with one other person. And in the breakout rooms, we won't be there with you. So you're going to have to be quite strict about timing yourselves. So we're going to give you 10 minutes altogether, which means 5 minutes each to read or talk about your work that you've done. And just a little bit of guidance about the experience, really. Really want to encourage you, if you're speaking, just read what you've written. You do not have to explain or justify anything. Just read what comes up. It might be that you're thinking you're not sure that you actually want to share what you've written down, in which case, perhaps you could talk about what it felt like to do the writing without actually sharing what you've written. That's okay, you know. Sometimes just talking about how it felt to write can be quite interesting to think about and to hear. That's perfectly valid, if that's what you'd rather do. If you are the listener, please can I encourage you to give the person your whole kind attention. Really listen to them deeply. It's about sharing and connecting, not about literary criticism or judgment. You know, it's actually a wonderful privilege to listen to someone's story. And there's no doubt that it's very courageous in the strange virtual world that we're inhabiting to put yourself out there a little bit. So, as Claire said, the lovely phrase, treat the person's story like a work of art. And maybe notice how it's making you feel, what the words they're saying are bringing up for you. Because that's part of the process as well, isn't it? What's coming up for you? How did it make you feel? Okay, I think that's everything I need to tell you about. Is everyone all right with that? Is everyone comfortable with that? Are there any questions at all? Jenny, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wondered, because I'm conscious we've been going for, I don't know, about 50 minutes, have we? Whether it's time for a little mini break before we go into those rooms, just for people to move around a bit, stretch, get a drink of something. I don't know, it's whatever fits best, but I'm conscious that one of the challenges when you're living with pain can be no position's comfortable.
Yeah, I echo that, Jenny. Just maybe a stretch or a move or anything that you feel you want to do. Don't feel you need to stay sitting by any means.
So maybe we take kind of a few minutes and before we go into the rooms, yeah, and people can turn their cameras off if they want, go for a little stretch and a glass of water or a cup of peppermint tea or whatever.
Is everybody happy with breakout rooms? That we'll just kind of get set. Jenny will set that up, and you'll get click on a link that takes you to a breakout room, and then also it'll give you kind of a warning. The breakout room will close in a minute's time. In there.
Lovely, and we'll just put back in the chat what the exercise is, just as a reminder, because if you're anything like me, it goes out of your head within about 20 seconds. Great, so we'll just take a couple of minutes and then we'll be back at past, yeah? And in terms of numbers, do you want to do this in pairs? I'll just type that to Deb.
Yeah, I think so.
Pairs? Yeah. Great.
I think if we've only got 10 minutes, yes, maybe pairs are best.
Yeah.
I think pairs are very intimate. It's nice. And we can jump into any room that we want.
It's a nice figure that you've got there tonight, I think, isn't it? How many are you? 4, 8, 12, 16? Was there more? Mm.
I think there were 18, but 2 ladies had to leave. They were getting a bit tired and painful, I think.
Mm. Oh, that's really good. Sorry I couldn't be in at the beginning.
I don't know how you manage to go to so many things, Louise. It stuns me. Every time I turn my computer on, you're there. It's like, whoa, how come you're here?
I did go out for a walk today though, so my bum isn't glued to the seat, I promise. The mindfulness session before this was really, really good. And yeah, I think it's sort of, it helped clear my mind before coming on to this session as well. So, yeah.
And that's Dermot leading it, is it?
Yeah, and I think he particularly was pleased that I was joining that, because I was a bit of a cynic with mindfulness. And I really couldn't, when I tried it before, I just didn't get it at all. I couldn't, but I think it's about trying these things when the time's right for us, isn't it?
And also there's different types, aren't there? Because I'm a bit like you, like getting my head to empty is virtually impossible.
Yeah, yeah.
But he does stuff like mountain meditation and so on, which is focusing on something, isn't it? Which I might find easier, I think.
Yeah, and I think, you know, he made me realize that actually when I go walking, I'm practicing mindfulness anyway. And so it's not necessarily, yeah, it's not necessarily about lying on a couch or sitting on a chair with your eyes closed. You know, it can take many forms. It's what's most comfortable for you, and yeah, and finding the thing that works for you. So, but I find it has really helped. And when I can't sleep, I try the breathing square thing as well, instead of all the thoughts that are running through your head. So yeah, so I'm learning.
That's so epic. This is like the commercial break.
Yeah. Yes. So everybody must check out what else is going on at the festival, because there's all sorts of new and exciting things that you get the opportunity to try if you've never tried it before.
Epic. Right, I think we've got a few more seconds and then we'll move into breakout rooms if people are good with that. Nice, right, I'm going to start flying people off into rooms in a very Star Trek fashion, all being well.
You do keep your timing, so you both have time to speak if you want to. So there's 5 minutes for each person and then switch over.
Excellent, so I'm just going to move there.
Just wanted to add, if anyone comes to a natural pause and they want to leave the breakout room, you can come back in.
Absolutely, yeah. So remind us the timings, Deb. What length of time do people listen for, and then what length of time before they switch over?
5 minutes each.
10 minutes inside the breakout room altogether, and then 5 minutes each. So you get 5 minutes to read or talk about your writing and the other person's listening. Then you swap over and they get 5 minutes.
Right, here we go. I'm going to open the rooms. So hopefully you should see it coming up. And just click accept. Great. So Deb, if you want to go into a room, I've put you and in the same room, or you can stay here, whichever you prefer.
Okay, I just accept, do I?
Yeah, and then
I stepped out of it because there were 3 in the room I was in, so I've left the 2 of them in there.
You could join any room you like if you want.
I sort of don't want to join the 2. If 2 people are one-on-one, I'll leave them to be one-on-one rather than a 3. Shall we work as a twosome?
Oh, how nice. Oh,
yeah,
that's nice. What a lovely thing to do. Yeah. Would you like to start? Or?
Sure. Okay. Keep my time. I wrote down a sister, an aunt, a friend, a support, a trainer, a teacher, a hiker, a physio. And I wrote about a hiker.
Oh, you're right.
I actually thought we're supposed to stay like without going into breakout rooms.
But you can do either. So Claire said because it was a pair, she didn't really feel comfortable, and they seemed fine.
I left because there were 2 others in there, and I thought I'd just leave them as a pair. So I jumped out the room. But we thought we would just do it with each other.
Sure, if you don't mind me being here.
Oh no, we can all rotate. We'll be disciplined and do 3 minutes each. There you go.
So I wrote about being a hiker. I walked across the top of Spain. I felt free, a little scared, afraid. I started in the vineyards and ended at the sea. I enjoyed the sense of nowhere else to be, just one step after another with a pack on my back. I was good at walking, finding my rhythm and space. My pack was my home, water and life. It was hard, my feet hurt at times, and I wanted to give up. I did it in stages. There was no sense of rushing. It took 4 years. Much happened.
That is really profound. It sounds almost spiritual when you talk about it like that. I feel the rhythm and the connectedness with the landscape and the physicality of it, but the mental journey as well comes over, and the connection, right? The connection with the place and the people, and wow, it's really, very impactful. What about for you, Sonia?
No, it's really, it almost like reminds me like a pilgrimage kind of thing. And just the mention of all these like a basic kind of life elements like water and the sky and the land and the breath, you know, it's just something very kind of like elementary about it. Yeah, I almost like felt it in my guts a little bit as you were talking about it.
Yeah, it's very strange because I wrote that. It almost makes me shiver a little bit reading it, because when I wrote it, I thought this is just nothing. Do you know what I mean? You kind of write and you just think these words don't really say anything. And then you kind of, when you read it out loud, it's a whole, it feels so totally different. And it was a real mental journey. It was a real kind of, it was a pilgrimage. It was kind of a just go and have that space and time and that line, I started in the vineyards and ended at the sea.
Take a little bit of time for you, if you would like to just share what that felt like. Obviously, you don't have to share again your writing, but if anyone wants to make any comments at this point, what it's been like, the experience, before we move on to the next thing. We don't have unlimited time because we have something else lined up for you. But if you'd like to comment at all, please do.
Oh, Jane.
I think you're muted, Jane. Oh.
I really,
that was lovely for me. I want to thank the ladies that I was with. Thank you for letting me listen to you guys. One thing that was lovely was the different interpretations of that exercise, both of which were entirely valid, and it was just fascinating. Elements of it sometimes being a timeline, and then you just think there's so much life in all of those rows, and then some of it was about feelings I've been and things like that. It's amazing. Yeah.
I think there's also a sense of rhythm, isn't there? I was so struck how, as you say, when you write, you don't hear the rhythm, and yet somehow when it's out loud, whether it's an excerpt from another language or whether it's a sense of the rhythm of the task or the journey, the metaphor, it's very different out loud, and that was very interesting to me and very exciting.
I agree with you, Jenny, because I actually wrote something which was half in my mother's tongue and half in English, and I crossed some words and I thought, what a mess, you know, I don't want to share this. But then once I did, and you know, I just, it was a completely different experience. And the way kind of Claire and Jenny tuned in, it made me feel very seen, which I think is the beauty of this, you know, exercise.
I think it sounds as if what we have managed to do in a very short time is kind of go inside ourselves a bit and also share some of that. And I think that's actually remarkable. Yeah. Actually, one of the things I love about these exercises is they're so deceptively simple on the surface, and then what they can potentially bring out to people is amazing. I'm always amazed by it. Okay, everyone. I want to say thank you for having such a go at that. That's fantastic. I would like to now hand over to, I believe it's Sanya next, is that right? Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Deborah, for being as amazing as ever. And thank you, everybody, for doing such a wonderful job in listening and honoring each other's stories. And I think always when we write something and we know it's going to be shared with somebody else, you know, that's in itself is an act of risk-taking. So well done, everybody. So we're going to now move into the territory of poetry, which I know for some people is a scary territory. I think poetry sometimes makes us feel tense. We think we have to maybe analyze complex metaphors in order to come to understand the poem. So if any of you are having these thoughts right now in your head, I invite you to shake them off. We certainly won't be analyzing anything tonight. Instead, I want to invite you to simply sit back or stand up if you have to, and let's just allow yourself to surrender to the poem. Let the words, images, sounds, smells, let them enter you and let them inhabit your body. So it's one of my favorite poems by Kate Tempest, Hold Your Own. And if you by any chance know this poem, I invite you to forget about it. I really want this to be a fresh and communal experience where we're all together stepping into this moment. So Kay is a contemporary performative artist, and she reads her poetry aloud in a very beautiful and embodied way. So I thought that the best way for us to honor her story is to watch her speak. So let me just share my screen. Ta-da. Can you all see this? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so everybody, let's just take a deep breath in and breathe out, and let's just step in.
When time pulls lives apart, hold your own. When everything is fluid, and when nothing can be known with any certainty, hold your own. Hold it till you feel it there. As dark.
Oh, we just lost sound. Something happened.
Oh, did you? Everybody? Oh no.
It was working and then it stopped working. So maybe we could start again.
Yeah, let me just.
Hold your own. When everything is fluid, and when nothing can be known with any certainty, hold your own. Hold it till you feel it there. As dark and dense and wet as earth, as vast and bright and sweet as air. When all there is knowing that you feel what you are feeling, hold your own. Ask your hands to know the things they hold. I know the days are reeling past in squealing blasts. Stop for breath and know it's yours. Swaying like an open door when storms are coming. Hold. Time is an onslaught. Love is a mission. We work for vocations until, in remission, we wish we'd had patience and give on more time to our children. Feel each decision that you make. Feel it, make it, hold your own. Hold your lovers. Hold their hands. Hold their breasts in your hands, like your hands are their bra. Hold their cheeks in your palms like a prayer. Hold them all night. Feel them. Hold back. Don't hold back. Hold your own. Every pain, every grievance, and every stab of shame, and every day spent with a demon in your brain giving chase. Hold it. Know the wolves that hunt you. In time, they will be the dogs that bring your slippers. Love them right, and you will feel them kiss you when they come to bite. Hot snouts digging out your cuddles with their bloody muzzles. Hold. Nothing I can buy will ever make me more whole. Nothing I can be will ever make me more whole. Nothing I can get my hands around will ever make me more whole. This whole thing thrives on us feeling perpetually incomplete. It is why I will search for my happiness in whatever thing it is I crave in a moment. And it is why I will never find it there. It is why you will sit there with the lover that you fought for in the car you sweated years to buy, wearing the ring you dreamed of your whole life. And some part of you will still be unsure that this is what you even want. Stop craving. Please let me stop craving. Let me hold my own. But if I am satisfied with where I'm at and how I'm doing, I won't need to buy any makeup or new outfits or new pots and pans to cook new exciting recipes for new exciting people to make myself feel like the new exciting person I'm so sure that I'm supposed to be. Happiness, the brand, it's not happiness. Happiness, other people's happiness. It's not happiness. We are smarter than they think we are. They take us all for idiots. That's their problem. We behave like idiots. It becomes our problem. So hold your own. Breathe deep on a freezing beach. Taste the soul of friendship. Notice the movements of a stranger. Hold your own. Let it be. Catching.
Wow, I didn't expect to shed a tear on a public workshop, but this is what poetry does to us. So maybe we can all have a moment, and I was going to invite you all to maybe share in a chat box to type a word or a few words. How did this exercise, listening and watching this, performance make you feel? Whatever word comes to you. I'm loving all these like really empowering words like strong and determined and heard. Reflecting on my whole life. Wow. Inspired, grounded, raw. Yes, very raw. Oh, thank you. You know, we really wanted you to kind of to feel empowered and we wanted to kind of end this on a very high note, full of wonder, courageous, grateful, old, seen, whole. Oh, this is beautiful. I'm so happy you're writing this. So thank you everybody for allowing the poem to work on you. I think I think not everybody does that, so really thank you for taking this seriously. Right, so I'm gonna give you something like a homework, an optional homework assignment if you feel like doing it. Not right now, but if you want to do it after the workshop or tomorrow. So what you could do, you could start the sentence, the time I held my own, ... and then you can set the alarm for 5 minutes and write about it, whatever comes out of you. So I'm going to now use this prompt as a segue into our next slide. Claire, do you mind sharing the slides again? Thank you. Thank you. So besides having the wonderful evidence of your words, it's also good to know that there is some established and preliminary scientific evidence out there that this type of work really has some health benefits. So emotional expression through expressive writing is associated with stronger immune functioning. Sharing stories helps us to feel less isolated and to come to know ourselves more as human beings. Connection to others enhances parasympathetic activity, our rest and digest system. And the next slide, please. And I would love to now give you an idea on how to do this kind of practice in your own time. So if you find a work of art, be that a poem or a painting or a song or a sculpture, that for you sparks joy or gratitude, and think about connections to your life. Set the alarm for 5 minutes and write about it. So in these situations, when we choose to write in the context of an artwork, that artwork serves us as a third thing. Now, this third thing is an actual term, and what it means that once inspired or mediated by a chosen artwork, we are more likely to have something to say and to have some deep truths emerging from within us. Artwork as a third thing allows us to be vulnerable at the level we feel comfortable with, because there's always that artwork to turn our back to. So sometimes when I do this kind of practice, I do it with poetry. And as I end up digging deep into myself, I almost picture a poem holding my hand. I feel less lost and less alone. You also don't have to write about joy or gratitude. You can write about some personal challenges or some core values in your life. The reason why I chose joy and gratitude is because we know that writing about, where do I find joy? What am I grateful for? Enhances our sense of self-compassion, which has a positive effect on our mental health and some long-lasting effect on our brain and nervous system. History of humankind has showed us that finding beauty and joy sustained us in the most difficult of times. So I hope you have fun with this. Explore, have fun, just discover, and thank you for having me. I'm going to pass it on to Claire now.
We're pretty much exactly on 7 o'clock. So just a real there's just a few other ideas that you can play around with. Journaling, morning pages is something just to, in the morning, to just get up and write a stream of consciousness. And there's just many different ways. And I think we get caught up in it should be done a certain way. And am I good enough? Is it right or wrong? And sometimes just that, as we've seen tonight, just the putting something on paper, a short prompt, and even reading it out to yourself feels differently. So thank you so much for, I'm going to just stop sharing. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on this journey, and I really hope that you've taken something from it, and we're free to answer anything or get in touch with us, and it's been a real pleasure to spend this hour and a half with you this evening. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, and huge thank you to Deb, obviously, for amazing exercises, Claire for being the leader, and Sanya for taking us to really deep place there. And yeah, I hope people get a chance to play with it. If people want to share in Coffee and Chat, obviously we have Coffee and Chat 11:30 UK time on Mondays. I appreciate that in Hawaii, that's going to be ridiculously middle of the night. But for those who are not quite so many time zones away, you'd be very welcome. And we can play with breakout groups and so on to do that, because I think some of the depth of this is in the listening and hearing back how it lands for other people. And yeah, thank you so much, the three of you, and for everybody for sharing so kindly and openly and vulnerably. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And I did put the link in the chat for those who wanted to listen again, because it is lovely. And feel free to chip in any questions, since we've got the maestros here. Or reflections on what you've done. I know that many of you blog and write as well. And in fact, somebody even put their website of where they put their creative writing earlier on in the chat, which I need to find back. If anybody wants to download the chat, of course, you can just click on the three little buttons and you get a copy of the chat with the links and everything.
Thank you, everybody. And have a lovely rest of the evening.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Lovely. Amazing job on the captioning, Lynn. Well done.
Yes, thank you for doing the captioning. Oh, I thought that went, I think it went really well. It's always very emotional, isn't it? Like, well done, Debs, well done, Sonia and Jenny. That was really good.
Well done, everybody. I feel really inspired right now, and that poem really made me feel emotional.
Yeah, it was a really good poem, that at the end. Really good.
It was a very a perfect one to finish on, just to kind of uplifting, and yeah, that was really good. And the exercise, Debs, I like.
Noticed all the requests for it to be a regular session.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And actually, it was a nice number. I think had it been loads, it gets less personal. So it's quite
Absolutely.
nice. Okay, brilliant.
Nice. Well, congratulations. I know so much work and nervous energy into tonight, but it was worth every ounce of it in my book. So thank you.
And actually, timings worked quite well, didn't it? We're sort of, you know, I think
Thank
you can
you very
always
much,
talk for longer.
Laura.
But,
For all your hard work, Laura.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
And how was it? Is there anything we should learn for next time? Because it's our first time, so we're novices.
It was fine. Yeah, no, the pace was really good and it was very clear. The only thing is breakout room. I can't caption in the breakout room, but I hope Deborah was able to see the link to the streamed text that I sent also for that.
Yeah, I suddenly realised that was probably the case because it was still showing up in the main
coming up in the main room.
Oh,
yeah.
there's something not quite working here.
That's the only thing. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
cool. All
Fantastic.
good.
Right, so we'll see you on is it 2 weeks time?
30th?
Yeah, so we just need Louise to coordinate with Deb about the list of attendees just to check there isn't a conflict. So we'll do that on email and we'll sort out the form and the payment, Deb. So that'll be grand.
Yeah, fantastic. Super. And I think Nikki's going to join you for the next one. I think that was what she said earlier, wasn't
That's
it?
the plan, yeah. I was glad she had a night off because I think she's been burning the candle both ends.
Yeah. I think we've been tending to do that to get this off, but I mean, it's brilliant. And I think everyone was really, really happy. So yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. I'll sign off there then. Well done,
See you later.
everyone.
Have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye. Stop recording. Oops, sorry about that. Stop recording.